Welcome to Wisdom for Life. Today we explore a powerful story about empathy, a missing watch, and a wise teacher's choice. The morning sun shone brightly into a lively sixth-grade classroom, filling the room with the joyful energy of young, innocent students. Among these children was a boy who proudly wore a very expensive watch, a special gift he received from his wealthy parents. When the bell rang for recess, the students rushed outside to play, leaving their bags and belongings scattered across the wooden desks. But one boy stayed behind in the quiet room, his eyes fixed on that gleaming watch sitting unprotected on a nearby table. Temptation clouded his young mind, and in a brief moment of weakness, he quickly slipped the expensive timepiece right into his pocket. As recess ended, the energetic children flooded back into the classroom, laughing and chatting, completely unaware of the silent theft that occurred. Suddenly, a loud, panicked voice broke the cheerful noise as the wealthy boy realized his precious watch was missing from the desk. Tears streamed down his face while he frantically searched under books and inside his bag, but the beautiful watch was truly gone. The gentle teacher immediately stepped forward, asking the students to remain absolutely quiet while he carefully assessed the tense and confusing situation. He walked to the heavy wooden door, slowly closed it, and turned to face his worried class with a very serious expression. The teacher spoke softly but firmly, explaining that taking something belonging to another person is a grave mistake that damages our community. He demanded that whoever took the watch must return it immediately, offering a chance for the guilty student to make things right. Silence filled the room as seconds ticked by, but nobody stepped forward to confess, leaving the air thick with anxiety and fear. The young boy who stole the watch felt his heart pounding violently against his chest, terrified of the impending shame and punishment. Realizing no one would confess, the teacher instructed all the students to stand up and form a straight line against the wall. He then handed out dark cloth blindfolds, asking every single child to cover their eyes tightly until he gave the next instruction. The students obeyed without question, tying the blindfolds securely, plunging themselves into complete darkness while waiting anxiously for the teacher's next move. The teacher announced that he would personally search everyone's pockets, ensuring that no one could see who possessed the stolen silver watch. Footsteps echoed softly on the wooden floor as the teacher began his slow, deliberate walk down the long line of nervous students. He reached the first student, gently tapping their pockets, finding nothing but crumpled papers, and then silently moved to the next child. The guilty boy stood trembling, feeling a cold sweat forming on his forehead as the approaching footsteps sounded like a ticking clock. He imagined the horrible moment of discovery, picturing his classmates laughing and pointing at him, forever branding him as a dirty thief. The teacher moved closer, checking the third, fourth, and fifth students, maintaining an atmosphere of absolute silence and profound, respectful calm throughout. Finally, the teacher stood directly in front of the guilty boy, whose breathing grew shallow as he awaited his inevitable, shameful doom. The teacher's gentle hands reached into the boy's right pocket, and his fingers immediately brushed against the cold metal of the watch. The boy closed his eyes tighter behind the blindfold, bracing himself for the harsh scolding and public humiliation he believed would follow. The teacher slowly pulled the watch from the deep pocket, gripping it firmly in his hand, but he did not say anything. Instead of stopping the search and exposing the culprit, the wise teacher simply continued moving down the line to the next student. He methodically checked the remaining children, ensuring that the entire process looked completely fair and identical for every single person standing there. When the search was finally over, the teacher instructed everyone to remove their blindfolds and return quietly to their respective wooden desks. He held up the gleaming watch for all to see, placing it gently on the rightful owner's desk without uttering a word. The class resumed its normal activities, and the teacher never mentioned the incident again, leaving the identity of the thief completely unknown. The guilty boy sat at his desk, overwhelmed by a powerful mix of intense relief, deep gratitude, and profound personal moral awakening. That single act of mercy saved his dignity, transforming his heart forever and teaching him the true meaning of compassion and forgiveness. Decades passed swiftly, and that once foolish little boy grew up to become a highly respected, deeply ethical, and incredibly successful businessman. One evening, he attended a grand school reunion, hoping to find the wise teacher who had profoundly shaped his entire life's journey. He spotted the elderly teacher sitting quietly, his hair now completely silver, but his kind eyes remaining exactly the same as before. The businessman approached him with immense respect, shaking his fragile hand and introducing himself as the boy who once stole the watch. He expressed his deepest gratitude, thanking the teacher for protecting his fragile dignity and giving him a precious second chance at life. The old teacher smiled warmly, looking at the successful man before him, and softly replied that he vividly remembered that dramatic day. However, the teacher's next words completely shocked the businessman, revealing a hidden truth that had remained a secret for many long years. The wise old man whispered gently, explaining that he actually never knew who had taken the shiny watch from the wooden desk. The businessman looked bewildered, asking how that was even possible since the teacher had personally reached into his pocket to retrieve it. With a serene smile, the teacher calmly revealed his brilliant secret, stating that while searching the students, he also closed his eyes. He had intentionally blinded himself to protect the child's identity, ensuring that his own perception of the student would never be tainted. This profound revelation brought tears to the businessman's eyes, realizing the true depth of the teacher's extraordinary empathy and unconditional positive regard. A single mistake does not define a person's entire character, but how we choose to handle that mistake shapes their entire future. Harsh punishment usually breeds resentment and fear, whereas silent understanding and protecting someone's dignity can inspire genuine, lifelong transformation from within them. The teacher chose to erase the sin without erasing the sinner, demonstrating that true wisdom lies in cultivating compassion over strict judgment. By keeping his own eyes closed, he opened the door to a brighter future for a young boy who desperately needed grace. Thank you for joining us today on Wisdom for Life, where we share stories that inspire the mind and heal the heart.